Good morning, welcome back to the Breakfast Club. It's so good to see you this morning. I hope you're all well. I am Dorothée King, and the Breakfast Club is our space in the morning to grow, to thrive, to connect, and to share ideas on how to be well. And today I wanted to talk to you about the topic of judging each other. I thought that's very relevant today because I felt in the last weeks and months of the corona crisis, everybody is judging each other. Young people are judging the old people for putting up all these rules. Old people are judging the young people for having corona parties. People are judging their governments because they think they are not acting correctly, and governments are judging the citizens for not acting correctly. And I think there's just all this tension. And I had the feeling that when we are judging each other, we are not getting any closer. We are not feeling any more connected, but to the contrary, it's just this very feeling and surrounding of anger that is shaped, but nothing is actually changing. So I was wondering, how can we deal with that without the judging? So the third thing I was wondering is, where's the judging actually coming from? And then I realized when I looked at my own life that usually it's done just out of habit. So I grew up in a society where judging is basically the same as small talks. So you get together and then you judge the weather, oh, terrible weather today, and then you judge the neighbors, how awful they are, and then you judge other people's behaviors, and so on and so forth. So if you don't judge, then you are foreign, so that just belongs to how people talk. And usually you have those judgments that come from your family, like, oh, people with money stink, and then for the rest of your life you think oh, it's better to stay poor and not to make money because people with money, they are evil, for example. Or you think that I don't know, people from this and that country, they blah blah blah. So all these prejudices and all these judgments, they are usually inherited. So the first thing you could do is to ask yourself if you still want to continue those judgments in your own life, or maybe you just want to get rid of them and stop them once and for all because they don't make any sense at all. And then the other thing is that I realize is that we lose a lot of judgments when we think we are assessing. And there's nothing wrong with assessing a situation, like looking at a situation from the distance, thinking about, okay, observing, this is happening, that is happening, what are my next step? We usually don't do that, but we say, oh, this is bad, that's not working for me, I don't like that. This is not how it's done correctly, blah, 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 blah. So we are not assessing, but we are immediately judging. So instead of giving us a chance to think about, okay, that's the situation as it is, what are my steps to bring me into power, to bring me into action, or maybe I don't have to do anything at all, we start blaming and judging and think we are assessing. So look at your words a little bit more clearly and think about when are you using judgmental words, and try to step back and observe and assess situations instead of judging them. And then the third one, that's what I realized with myself yesterday that also brought me to think about judging, is that judging often happens when someone presses an old wound of ours, like an old thing that we are still carrying around with us. So there's this example, an acquaintance of mine, we wanted to do something together, and then she said, oh, I don't have time. And I was like, wow, how comes that you don't have time? You don't have a full-time job, you don't have kids, you don't do the Breakfast Club, you don't do the and so on and so forth. And I was judging her because she said, oh, I don't have time for that. And I was judging her life and said, oh, I'm doing so much more. And what I realized after thinking about it for a while is that it was all about me, because I can't say no to anybody. And I never said probably, oh, I don't have time, to anybody else. I'm always like, sure, let's do it. Sure, let's do it. So my old wound of not being able to say no, or having the feeling of not being loved enough in case I say no. That came out. So it was not about her, because she can do whatever she wants to do, and she can do with her time whatever she can do. But at the end of the line, you know, when you get down of the like the beginning of the judgment, like the root of everything, then usually it's something that has to do with you. So you feel anxious or inferior, or there's something with you that you should look at, and not to the opposite, just projecting something onto other people. So it was just a little example, but I could trace that down in my case to something that had to do with me. So these are the three things I felt like why we are judging. So first is just out of habit, and the second one is that we think we assess, but we are actually judging, and the third one is that we are projecting old wounds on other people, and that the judgment actually has nothing to do with them but more with us. So these are the three things I thought have to do with the judging. And as a second step, they were thinking about what is judging actually doing to us? And it's very obvious. For example, if you imagine you're driving a car and then you're screaming at everybody, oh, drive faster, drive slower, you these stupid people. And just imagine yourself being in that car and you are cursing at everybody around you. And what is this doing to you? Probably it's just giving you, like, I don't know, maybe an aching throat because you're screaming so much, or maybe even worse, it leaves you with this tense feeling. And the other people in the other cars, they can't hear you. They don't care. They just drive and they are happy and they go along with their day. But what the judging of their driving behavior did to you is like it ruined your day, because you are in this mode of like, everybody around me is so angry. So just as a thought, if you wouldn't have judged them, but just said, okay, everybody around here is driving a bit differently, I'll keep on to myself, you would have been fine. But often when we constantly are in this judging mode, what it does, it just brings a lot of negative energy and leaves the negative energy with ourselves. So that's one good reason for stopping to judge. And then the second reason why we should stop judging, or what it does to us, is that if you just are in this habit of using judgmental language all the time, look at those stupid people. What is she wearing to do? Oh, did she gain like 20 kilos? Oh, look at them. Why are they doing this? If you're talking like that all day, just guess how you are talking to yourself. So when you're used to that judgmental language, I had the feeling then we also use that judgmental language with ourselves. So then you are also more like to talk to yourself, like, oh, I'm so stupid. What did I do again? Oh, look at me. I can't do that. And you are more likely to also neglect yourself and be very negative and judgmental with yourself. And you probably don't want that. So eliminating a judgmental language will also help you to have better self-talk and be nicer to yourself. And the third thing is what judging does to us is often then when we judge, like, oh, look at this government, they are doing so stupid things, or look at how they are doing their sport, look what kind of weird pants they are wearing. When we are judging the others, then we also bring us in this mode where we are not acting, we are not participating in life, but we look at it from the outside and think, oh, everybody doing things, they are doing it incorrectly, but we are just standing there doing nothing. And when you start yourself going, I don't know, for the example, going into politics, starting to do sports, starting to do funny pants, then all of a sudden you will be part of it and you wouldn't care so much about what other people, but you would be busy with doing instead of judging others. So I think the three things that judging does do to us is like, we learn this judgmental language to speak to ourselves. Also, we leave these negative feelings inside of ourselves. And also, usually judging takes us out of life instead of bringing us into life. So those are good reasons to stop judging. And thirdly, so what would happen if we would stop judging? Because a lot of people would think like, oh, what, I have nothing to say then. If someone takes away my judging, there's nothing else I can share. But maybe if you would stop judging, then you could just wish other people the best and say, oh yeah, look what they are doing, have fun with that, and just leave them their life and lead your life and be more happy overall and wish the others more happiness overall. And the second is that you might also lose a lot of your anxieties, because judging is always has to do with our anxieties, and we might project them into the future, like, oh, look at the clouds, it might be raining soon, there's always so terrible weather. So you already project your fears about the weather instead of just saying, okay, clouds, full stop. So stopping to judge might help you to get rid of the anxieties, like, oh, I'm so over, oh, the stupid people, what are they doing again? And then you get all anxious. So let go of that and be happy. So letting go of judging might once and for all help us to just be kinder and be nicer with each other. So as a homework for today, I invite you to, whenever you catch yourself judging others, then think back for a moment and let go, because then you let go of the judgmental language, you let go of the negative feelings. And if you have the real urge to judging, then maybe trace down and find the root that maybe has more to do with yourself than with the other person. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.